All right, everybody. Warm welcome. So I'm just going to share a few things that are coming up for me. And this is not exactly meant to be a teaching of any kind, but just see what it does for you. Maybe it'll remind you of something, maybe not. So when I was young, I would say between the age of maybe 10 to 18, when I would go on train, excuse me, when I would go on trains, Indian trains. India is still mostly villages. So there are these vast tracts of land where there's either nothing or there's fields, villages. And there's a certain, and of course, this is a projection because one doesn't know what life in the village is like. But there's a certain sense of freedom about just looking at village after village with fields in between, village after village. Just, yeah, I don't know. I just would get in touch with this ancient feeling, ancient feeling. There's something timeless here. There's so much more to this land than meets the eye. And it's funny, I often had this kind of fantasy of just getting off at a random station, just going to just a place where nobody knows me, just living there. Somehow there was something very attractive about that for me. Just getting off, nobody knows me. Not that I was very well known or anything, uh, or even that I am very well known. But there's something about just the anonymity, just the sense of no one knows your name, no one has any opinions about you yet. You just go to a place and something really fresh about that. That's one image I wanted to share with them. And another also from my childhood. This is even younger, I think, below the age of 12, maybe somewhere between 9 and 12. We went to, I think either it was Rishikesh or Haridwar, and we were doing some hiking, part of some kind of school trip. And we walked past some small caves. And there was no one in the cave, but I could see that this is a place where someone actually lives because there was a folded towel and there were a few books and there was a lamp. So maybe that person wasn't there now, but this somebody actually lives here. I just found that something very magnetic for me. There was something very magnetic that wow, you can live like this, just here in the mountain, in a cave, with just a few simple things. That again evoked a very timeless feeling. So I'm sure in your own way, you've had these moments, maybe similar to mine, maybe different. Something that evoked a timeless quality, timeless feeling. I was giving a talk in Chennai and a man shared an experience. He said, Nitya, I was never really interested in anything to do with meditation or spirituality. But one day, me and my friends, we were traveling and we came to a Tibetan settlement. This is in South India. We came to a Tibetan settlement. And I don't know where, from suddenly out of nowhere, this thought came that today I want to learn meditation. And I want to learn it from a monk over here. His friends weren't interested, so they said, "We're doing you do whatever you want." So he went to one monastery and he found an old monk and he asked the monk, "Will you teach me how to meditate?" And this monk actually didn't speak much English, so somehow they communicated. Somehow I don't know, through gestures or whatever, he communicated to him that he wants to learn how to meditate. So the monk smiled, "Follow me." So they climbed up a little hill. Behind the monastery was a hill. So they climbed up this hill in silence. And they reached the top. On the top of the hill, there was a flat rock. And the monk motioned for this person to sit on the rock. Come sit here. And then from that rock, you had an enormous, enormous, wide open expanse, monastery below. And then you could see much, much, much beyond that. And the monk gave him what I consider to be the most elegant meditation instruction I've ever heard. One word meditation instruction. The monk smiled at him and said, "Enjoy." And he left him there and he walked down the hill. This guy is perplexed, what I thought he's going to teach me something. So he left him there. He just sit here, enjoy. What am I supposed to do? So he said he was left there for 3 hours. And good on him to not get impatient. He actually stayed there for 3 hours. And without ever having been taught meditation before, without ever having, he had no idea what he was doing. But he had been told to sit here and enjoy. And so there was a lot, beautiful expanse to see. And then, of course, there were his own thoughts, all kinds of confusion, thoughts, planning, emotions. Enjoy. The one word instruction, enjoy. 3 hours later, the old monk came up again, smiled at him, asked him to follow him down again. So he said that's how he was introduced to meditation. The one word instruction, sitting on a hill, on a rock, staying with his experience for 3 hours. And he said those 3 hours changed his life. We began to realize how he can bring that quality of attention, intentional enjoyment into anything. There's a recent book that's come out. It's called Slow Productivity by Cal Newport. And he's basically saying that productivity is a lost art. We've actually forgotten what true productivity is. So he recommends three things. And of course, this is like the summary of the book. So there's a lot more in the book, but this is the three things he recommends is first of all is to do less. By do less, he means take on fewer projects. Maybe just one or two main projects. And other things can be there. They can be in a list, which will climb their way up. But don't have too many things on your plate. Do less. For slow productivity, do less. Work on fewer things. Second tip is, or I would say principle, not a tip. Second principle is work at a natural pace. So whatever time you have allocated, like if you said you're going to write the first chapter of your book in 2 weeks, he says double it because we tend to pressurize ourselves too much. So double it. So write it in a month. And we're not saying write indefinitely, say I'll do it someday. No, no, there is still a deadline, but it's a more relaxed deadline. So work at a more natural pace as opposed to the frantic pace that many of us are conditioned to work at these days. So first principle is do less. In other words, work on fewer projects at a time. Maybe just one, maybe two. Second principle is work at a natural pace. You decide what the natural pace for you, just natural, easeful, natural. Not trying to force things, not trying to rush things. And the third principle is obsess over quality. Quality. So treating your work like it's a craft. Not about how much you produce, but how timeless it is. So can you see how in all the things I'm sharing today, there is this element of timelessness, spaciousness, enjoyment, simplicity, giving all of yourself, not looking for some kind of validation, recognition. I call this being a happy nobody, from being an unhappy somebody to being a happy nobody. Have you noticed it's kind of painful being a somebody? No matter how great you are as a somebody, it's kind of a burden to live up to that and respond from that every time. Gosh, being a somebody is heavy and painful. What's it like to be a happy nobody? Nobody can impose their expectations on you without your active participation, without your active conceding and partnering. Nobody can impose their expectations on you. Do you see that? Check where in your life you have experienced, or at least come close to, the sense of timelessness, spaciousness, simplicity, focusing more on the quality of what you do than the quantity. Quality for quality's sake, not for someone's appreciation. Quality because it's your craft and working at a natural pace, natural for you, finding your own rhythm. All of these things together will create a sense of stability, sense of sanity, enjoyment, and flow. Stability, sanity. Stability, sanity, enjoyment, and flow. Hmm. Thank you for joining. Until next time.